How to Love and Be Loved by Paramhansa Yogananda. Chapter 2. The Folly of Selfishness. Judgment. Whenever you talk against another person for the love of gossip or through force of habit, remember, you will be judged by your Heavenly Father in the same way. Whatever you give out, the same will you attract. If you peddle the weaknesses of others, the divine law will mysteriously bring about the publicity of your own inner faults. Gossip never heals the person talked about, it only makes him angry, or steeped in despair and ashamed. It strengthens his determination to continue to be evil. There is a proverb which says, "The man who has lost one ear goes through the village at the side, showing the villagers his best ear, and hiding the lost ear. But he who has lost both ears goes through the center of the village, because he cannot hide from anyone." Any person whose moral errors are unduly exposed becomes desperate and shameless, like the man who lost both ears, and thus he makes no effort to be better. That is why you must not judge in a way to harm the person judged. Judge ye not others, judge yourself. If you love to talk loudly about the faults of others, then satisfy that lust by loudly talking about your own secret faults, and see how you like it even for a minute. If you cannot stand 1 minute's publicity about your own faults, then you must not rejoice in exposing others. The evil you spread about others becomes exaggerated, and people are ready to crucify the condemned person without knowing the circumstances that led him to be morally weak. Of course, in rare cases, the fear of publicity keeps some people good, but publicity about a person's fault makes him lose the desire to be good. Also, through publicity, a little weakness in a person is made to seem big, whereas people with far greater weaknesses go unnoticed. If there is mental dirt in your own inner home, get busy and clean it out, and do not waste time in talking about the mental dirt existing in others. Those who are self-elected critics are usually the ones who forget to scrutinize their own inner weaknesses. They think that they are all right because they can perceive the faults of others. Do not hide behind such an erroneous mental smokescreen. Unless you are free from fault yourself, you have no right to tell others how to be free from the very faults that haunt you. Only a kind, wise, and perfectly poised person is in a position to tell others their faults. According to the law of cause and effect, if you judge others with kindness, you will receive the same treatment from the principle of truth, which secretly governs all life. If you judge others unkindly, you will attract adverse criticism from others, which will make you miserable. To reveal the weakness of others, causing them embarrassment and making them resentful, is not wise. Cruel judgment of the wrong actions of others makes one forget that the sinner is only an error-stricken child of God. You should hate the sin, but not the sinner, for he is your own divine brother whose understanding is eclipsed by ignorance. The purpose of judgment must be curative only, not the merciless outlet of anger. We should treat the error-stricken person as we would like to be treated if we ourselves were stricken with error. In the same spirit with which we judge others does the divine law judge us. Unkindness. Unkind words are ruthless murderers of lifelong friendships and of the harmony of homes. Banish unkind words from your lips forever, and make your home life safe from trouble. Sincere, sweet words are nectar to thirsty souls. Make yourself attractive by wearing the fine garment of genuine courteous language. First, be courteous to your immediate relatives. When you can do that, you will be habitually kind to all people. Real family happiness has its foundation on the altar of understanding and kind words. In order to be kind, it is not necessary to agree about everything, but if you do disagree, always remain calm and courteous. It is human weakness to get angry and scold, but it shows divine strength to be able to hold the reins of the wild steeds of your temper and speech. No matter what the provocation, behave yourself, and by calm silence or by genuine kind words, Show that your kindness is more powerful than the other person's ugliness. Before the mellow light of your forgiveness, all the gathered hatred of your enemies will melt away. Oversensitivity. Sensitiveness is due to lack of control over the nervous system. Sometimes a thought runs through the mind, and the nerves rebel against that thought. Even if there is a reason for being upset, one should not become touchy or excited. If you feel that there is a reason to be upset and yet you control yourself, then you are a master of yourself. We should not be touchy or have self pity, which increases our oversensitivity. You may be nursing a grievance about something and nobody knows what it is. It is best that you look within yourself to remove the cause of that sensitiveness. Many people think that they should pity themselves and that self pity will bring a little relief. But self pity is an addiction like opium. Every time the opium addict takes the drug, he becomes more and more steeped in the habit. Be as firm as steel against self pity. You must be able to control your moods instantly. If the fire of sensitiveness eats into your heart and you allow it to stay there, it eats into the fibers of your peace. You must be able to control it yourself, knowing that oversensitivity is nothing but an agent of Satan trying to destroy your peace. Every time sensitiveness visits your heart, it is static on the radio of your soul and disconnects you from the divine song of peace that might play within you if you were not oversensitive. Whenever sensitiveness comes, try to conquer your emotion and do not blame others. Take responsibility for it yourself. That is the way to get rid of it. Destructive criticism. There are two kinds of criticism, constructive and destructive. When criticism is administered to people who resent your correction, that is destructive criticism. Constructive criticism consists in giving soul awakening advice to friends who want and have asked for your help. Constructive criticism is given in a loving way. It is not easy to criticize others accurately and kindly until you know that you can first criticize yourself perfectly. When you can clearly picture the faults of others and look at those faults with a sympathetic attitude, as if they were your own, then you are correct in your criticism. Internal criticism is worse than criticism by words. It is very foolish to criticize others internally and silently. Clean your mind of all adverse criticism towards others. Use a look to criticize others lovingly. Use a hint to criticize lovingly. And use as few words as possible to criticize others if they want your criticism. Do not repeat your suggestion more than twice. Leave your loving criticism as a seed to germinate in the soil of recipient souls. If they want to cultivate those seeds, it is their privilege. You can't force others to do what you want them to do. By correct criticism at the right time, you can help people to a great extent. When the scales of ignorance fall away from your inner eyes, you will be able to exactly measure the good points and the difficulties of others. You will not only learn to be tolerant, but you will learn to worship only what is good and to be indifferent to what is psychologically unwholesome. We forgive ourselves under all circumstances. Why should we not forgive others under all circumstances? When we are in error, we do not like to advertise our faults, but when anyone else is in error, we like to advertise his or her faults right away. When divine love possesses your heart, then you become a divine critic. A divine critic is a healer who has courage to undertake the unpleasant responsibility of correcting his own children with only one object in view, to make them better. Jealousy. If you are a naturally homely woman and are jealous of natural beautiful women, then adopt all the reasonable beauty parlor tricks to make yourself attractive. Better than that, if your body's ugly, decorate your soul with the richest ornaments of sincerity, magnetic personality, intoxicating and contagious smiles, rare culture, and all round efficiency to suit the demands and temperament of the most fastidious person. Remember what makes you really beautiful. Beautiful bodies with worthless souls are nothing but skeletons hiding behind the smooth sepulchre of flesh. To live and act as if you have no soul is equal to being dead. If you are jealous of another's fleshly accoutrements, carry on continuous disciplinary inner practice until you bedeck your soul with the all-alluring spiritual qualities of an advanced soul. Beautify your countenance with an all-winning, melancholy-dissolving smile. Don the smile that comes from a clear conscience, right action, harmlessness, and inner and outer agreeableness. If you are jealous of another person's health as compared to your own poor health, then try your utmost to follow all the laws of health with scrutiny, patience, and perseverance until you are very healthy. Jealousy is constructive as well as destructive. When jealousy is constructive and a harbinger of beneficial results, then it is good. If you are jealous of your better business rival to the point that you direct your efforts in channels of accelerated activity toward the attainment of greater success, that can be beneficial. But unless due precaution is taken, constructive jealousy might be metamorphosed into destructive jealousy. Destructive jealousy is mean and seeks to jeopardize the interests of the jealous individual as well as the object of his jealousy. Flattery versus truth. It is always good to speak the truth, but it is better to speak pleasant truth and avoid unpleasant true utterances. To address a lame man, "Hey, Mr. Lame Man," may be true, but it is an unpleasant and harmful truth and should be avoided. It is bad to criticize when criticism is not wanted, but it is beneficial to listen to kind criticism, and it is admirable to be able to stand harsh but true criticism with a smile and a sense of grateful appreciation. Flattery may be good when it encourages a person to right action, yet it is pernicious when it serves to hide a spiritual wound and lets it fester and poison the soul with ignorance. We all love flattery, just as many people would unknowingly eat poisoned honey. We also laugh inwardly to excuse our harmful faults and hide big psychological boils that can break and poison our spiritual life. Flattery from others and the comforting whispers of our own thoughts strike sweetly on our sense of hearing. Our human wisdom is often held prisoner in the hands of poisonous flattering words. Many people willingly lose money, time, health, and even character for the sweet, deceptive words of parasitic so-called friends. A saint used to have a friend who constantly criticized him, to the great displeasure of his disciples. One day a disciple came to him exulting, "Master, your enemy, the constant fault-finder, is dead." The master began to weep and said, "My best spiritual critic is dead. My heart is broken." Most people choose flattery instead of intelligent criticism, and would readily dash themselves on the rocks to disprove the candid forecasts of frank spiritual teachers. Therefore, each time somebody mildly or harshly criticizes you, ask yourself, have I been lured by sweet words and allowed my wisdom to be carried away a prisoner in the hands of flattery? Remember, you can't love God and at the same time be unkind to your associates. You can't love Him and be full of wrath. How you behave toward others both reflects your inner consciousness and conditions it. Never imagine that you can win God's love if you can't win the love of your fellow creatures. As you love Him, so should you love Him in all. O Fountain of Love, make us feel that our hearts and our love for our dear ones are all flooded by Thy omnipresent love. O great source of the rivers of our desires, teach us not to run ourselves dry or lose ourselves in the sands of short-lived sense satisfactions. Bless us that the rivulets of all our sympathy, affection, and love lose not themselves in the draught of dreary selfishness. End of chapter 2.